Well, let's go back to that story on the debate of the 2023 budget statement delivered to Parliament last Thursday, which kicked off in a fierce manner with members of Parliament from both sides of the House making forceful presentations. Now, even before the first argument could be made, the minority, which described the budget as a hopeless one, attempted to arrest the debate, insisting Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta should be present in the House. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has the rest of the story in this report.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who has travelled to Germany on official visit, was required, according to the NDC MPs.
So you can't just come and move the motion and you are not there. Remember, we are in a critical stage as a country, and members have researched. Over the weekend, we were all in. You took us there. You gave us technical insight and guidance. Members are prepared to make their input. And Mr. Speaker, it is only appropriate that the Finance Minister must be here. Mr. Speaker, if he's not ready to do the job, he must let the House know.
The matter raised by the Deputy Whip on the minority side is very grave, Mr. Speaker. This attitude is becoming too much. Mr. Speaker, the practice where ministers of finance present budget and fail to collect input should not be entertained. It is becoming too much from this finance minister. You don't just present a budget and travel abroad or go and sit in your office. Mr. Speaker, we cannot accept this. You should come before we start the debate.
The Constitution does not say that anywhere.
The Speaker, however, ruled that he had been made aware of the minister's travel. The minority then kickstarted their debate, describing government economic policies as hopeless and one which will worsen the economic situation of Ghanaians. Ranking member on the Finance Committee, Dr. Kisela Toforsen, described the 23 taxes introduced in the budget as killer taxes, insisting there is nothing inspirational about the budget presented by the minister.
Until yesterday, the Black Stars of Ghana has given some temporary hope to a very hopeless situation. Mr. Speaker, the mood in this House could tell you how hopeless the nation has become. Mr. Speaker, if you go out there, the mood on the street of Ghana will tell you that there's hopelessness. There's a massive cost of living crisis as we find ourselves. Mr. Speaker, it will surprise you to know that marriages are collapsing because of this government. Marriages are collapsing because cost of living is becoming so high. Mr. Speaker, that is where we found ourselves. Mr. Speaker, businesses are collapsing. Our debt is currently unsustainable. Mr. Speaker, this budget introduced 23 tax measures. 23 tax measures, Mr. Speaker.
But Deputy Finance Minister Abino Siasari fought back.
The 2023 budget has been formed or prepared in some certain context. And the context is that we are faced with both difficult global and domestic challenges. We also have an ongoing IMF negotiations, and also we have debt operations. That is why there is a need to raise some form of taxes to support our fiscal consolidation. And I'm therefore urging my colleagues on the other side to support government with these current revenue measures before the House, as listed in paragraphs 215 to 222, like I mentioned earlier.
With the debate now underway, leadership of the House, both the minority and majority leaders, will be expected to conclude the debate on Thursday before a decision will be taken on whether or not the budget statement, as has been presented to the House by embattled Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta last week Thursday, will be approved or not. Remember, last year the minority purported to have disapproved the budget until that decision was overturned. We'll see how that pans out now. But this debate has been a little bit unceremonious, and you've heard the minority there saying that the majority MPs have boycotted the debate because a number of them were not in the chamber when the debate started. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Well, from Parliament, let's talk about the Greater Accra region's foremost used clothing hub, which has yet again been ravaged by fire. After an 8-hour battle, personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service finally managed to overcome the raging inferno that gutted over 200 shops at Kantamanto, which is popularly known for second-hand clothing in the Central Business District of Accra. Now, Joy News' Michael Ashali was at the scene and came through with this report.
Fire started at 4 a.m. Tuesday morning, destroying more than 200 stalls. After more than 8 hours and the efforts of 9 water tenders, the Ghana National Fire Service managed to douse the fire, but the damage had already been done. These are supposed to be raw beans, but now half-baked by the raging fire here. That happened some hours ago. It comes from a shop that belonged to Sandra and her mother. She tells me how difficult it is even trying to salvage what's left of this particular shop.
It was 55 bags. 5 bags is 1,500. Then the 50 bag one is 920 cedis. So what we had is less than 10 bags in put down. It's half. We have to be collecting it as we are doing here before we get that.
A very difficult moment. So what are you going to do with what you get from here?
There's nothing you can do again. This what they say. You can't use it for anything. They can only give it to those animals who eat beans. That's all. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Oh, please, what's your name?
My name is Sandra Humata. My mom is patient Humata.
Some more affected shop owners spoke to Joy News.
Me ton tops, me nyoma hye. Bebe no misi so temi nchen so nyoma. Bebe ni nyina hye, ne sack. Se de aye de ne bebe akokora anya bowa. Ebi ye 40, ebi ye 50. Se de extra ban se onnom ye kakra na se de kantamantofo. Enyina eja hia to ye papa anya sam ketwa. Lo na yakwaji o. Me yakwaji lo anya de ye adwuma. Nyoma ni nyina na ahye no ye bede nya sika kotua lo no sika ma wom.
Ni nyina hye ye hu ne ye sika susu ni wo ya ye mobo enche bia na ye ma baby school ni ye san betu school fees ye be ye den enti aban ye srawo wo hu ye mobo no menom ye kakra e bi se ye ni ba bia ye ko.
Interior Minister Ambrose Derry led a government delegation on behalf of President Akufo-Addo to assess the situation and promised to provide more for the affected traders.
First of all, I want to commiserate with them on this unfortunate. First of all, I sent my men, fire service, the police, and not more to come and see what is happening. So right now, what I want to encourage them is that they should be cool. We would move them. A bus will come and move them to police station. First of all, to get a record of them, and the psychologist will talk to them. It's not an arrest. So for now, I want to encourage them that they should not be discouraged. They should cooperate with the security agencies here, and God would help us help them. My president, Nana Akufo-Addo, is outside the country, but he's called me to come here and make sure that I'm in touch with them. So they should be patient, and we'll deal with the matter. Whatever report I get, I'll send it up to the president, and we'll tell you what we'll do.
Nearly 2 years ago, some of the traders lost their investment in a similar situation when fire gutted their shops. Although they submitted their names, they are yet to be compensated. This time, they want government to make good of their promise.
If you and na brother say ya and then so as president say onum ye no ma hwe ye no mo ye kakra na say de mo ye dia ma ye papa.
National PR of the Ghana National Fire Service Assistant Chief Fire Officer ACFO Timothy Osafo Efum says investigations have commenced into the incident to determine the root cause.
And we rushed and got here within 6 minutes. There were no other access to inside of the market itself. And so we had to couple a lot of hoses before we could get to the scene to fight the fire. So I think that is one. And congestion was also another. So these are the two factors that impeded smooth firefighting. As it stands now, we've not been able to come up with any cause of fire yet. So the investigators are still on the ground working hard to see what can be done.
Meanwhile, the fire service uncovered 3 of their hydrants that had been illegally sealed by residents and in some situations built upon without recourse to the law. ACFO Timothy Osafo Efum says the service is utterly gutted by the situation.
Now, I've always been saying that in firefighting, availability of adequate constant flow of water, it's about 60% of the job that is done. So this is an area that belongs to the city authorities. And so I am surprised why a building has been put on a fire hydrant. How can a developer develop on a hydrant?
Although many people managed to salvage some of their items from the inferno, others lost millions of Ghana cedis. They are asking government to honor its promise by extending help to them. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Now, the National Communications Authority has served notice that it would not spare media houses broadcasting inappropriate content. In effect, they risk a shutdown if warnings to desist from broadcasting unsuitable content, particularly those which pose a threat to society, is not heeded. The warning comes as the NCA launched the Broadcasting Monitoring Center to regulate the content and technical specifications of television and FM broadcasting services. Mapito Sibidi, my colleague, has more in this report.
In 2021, 2 teenagers killed a 10-year-old boy for money rituals, having been influenced by spiritualists on national television. This caused a public uproar, with many asking the National Communications Authority to regulate the content on television and radio stations. Speaking at the launch of the new Broadcasting Monitoring Center, Director General Joe Anoche said the organization has established systems to effectively monitor compliance to the technical conditions of broadcast authorizations.
In 2021, there was a widespread public concern about negative repercussions of ritualist contents of television stations that entertain spiritualists, as well as advertisement which misled a large section of the public. There were calls for the regulatory institutions with oversight over electronic media, that is, the National Media Commission and the NCA, to take appropriate action to deal with these issues. As a result, the NCA and NMC signed a memorandum of cooperation on June 15, 2021 to regulate broadcast content in line with the provisions of Section 3C of the NCA Act 2008 at 769.
Deputy Information Minister Fatimatu Abubakar believes while Ghana waits for the broadcasting bill to be passed, this Broadcasting Monitoring Center will keep media houses on their toes to produce more appropriate content.
I believe in the short and medium term, even before we get a Broadcasting Act, which has been worked on over the years. This singular exercise by the National Communications Authority to commission a Broadcasting Monitoring Center would really keep a lot of media houses, in fact all media houses, on their toes. Just the awareness that someone is watching in itself is some sort of regulation in itself, because people are conscious of who is watching them.
Personnel of the center are expected to monitor about 100 channels. Director of the Engineering at the NCA, Edmund Fianco, outlined some of the key components of the new Broadcasting Monitoring Center.
To improve, we also do prompt the stations. We send emails, place telephone calls when we observe certain violations, and it helps to improve. Also, for the unauthorized stations that keep coming up, because the team at the center, one of their tasks is to run daily scans. We are also able to quickly detect when there are stations that are not authorized but are on air. There is also the enhanced consumer protection. We expect that law enforcement can be able to request for clips whenever they need it to support either investigations or prosecution as necessary.
Reporting for Joy News from the National Communications Authority Broadcasting Monitoring Center, I am Mapito Sibidi.
Now, in our next story, former President John Dramani Mahama has revealed that he has no preference for any of the aspirants who have penciled their names for the impending NDC National Executive election next month. Addressing regional and constituency executives and stalwarts of the party in Wa, John Dramani Mahama stated that he was the father of the party and had not taken sides and would work with both the victors and the vanquished after the election for the party to achieve victory in the 2024 election. Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam now reports.
John Dramani Mahama, in an interaction with the regional executives and some stalwarts of the party, averred that despite the tremendous development brought by the National Democratic Congress, which has bettered the lives of the people in 2016, the new patriotic party poo-pooed a deceived Ghanaians into believing that he was incompetent and the party voted out. The cascading effect is the untold hardship on the people.
Whatever happens in this country affects everybody. When we make a wrong choice, it affects us not today, but tomorrow and tomorrow next and next year and the year after. We made that wrong choice in 2016. Despite everything we did, people of Ghana were convinced that we were incompetent. And so they voted against us. And the effects of that decision in 2016 are continuing to follow us every day till now. Don't let them tell you Ukraine war and COVID and what and what and what. No, it's not Ukraine war, it's not COVID.
He admonished the constituency and regional executives to work together, stating that Ghanaians are looking up to them to salvage the country and they dare not fail them.
Who are the executives that are going to take us into the 2024 election? Ghana is looking at you. All of you sitting in this room, Ghana is looking at you. Whatever little you do is what will rescue the people of Ghana from the hardship that they're going through. So don't think that the responsibility you've taken is light. You've won, you finished jubilating. Put the jubilation aside. Now it's time to work. 2024 elections, there's no Supreme Court. The work of winning the election is at the polling station. And the people of Ghana are saying that we're waiting for you. What else do we have to do? We must get our things ready on the ground. And so it's not going to be business as usual. But I want to thank you, Upper West, for the support you gave me in 2020. Your results were one of the best amongst all the regions. And this time I expect us to capture all the constituencies and increase the gap between us and MPP in the presidential debate. So it means a lot of work is going to depend on you.
Turning to the impending NDC National Executive election, he stated that he has no preferred choice among the aspirants.
I'm the father of the party, and so me, I don't have any preferences. Everybody who's fighting for a position in the party is a person who has served the party. And I leave it to you to make that choice. And when you've made that choice, we'll work with who has won, and who hasn't even won, we'll bring them on board.
On whether he will put his name up for the flag bearership of the NDC again, though he enjoys massive following from the party, decided to use the tortoise approach, delaying the big announcement.
Before the signal has been given, some people have shot their guns to start running. The race is a marathon race, and so I know marathon, when you start giddy, by the time you reach quarterway, you are panting. So some people have started running, but we'll wait till the process is over. The new executives are in place, they give the guidelines, they open nominations, and then we'll see who picks those nomination forms.
Whatever the outcome, he assured the supporters that his support for the party will always be legendary.
But I want to say, in whatever position I occupy as president, having been given the opportunity by this party to be a former president, I'm always going to be there for this party. Whether I'm the flag bearer, I'm not the flag bearer, I know that NDC is my party.
Earlier, the former president was at Dondoli to condole and commiserate with the family of a former youth organizer of the NDC, Alhaji Mumunu Mankama, who passed on days before the NDC regional executive election. Alhaji Mumunu Mankama was a man of many parts and has worked most of his entire life for the NDC and the development of the Limaire Dondolo community. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
In our next story, the International Union for Conservation and Nature has supported farmer groups in the Upper East and Upper West regions with farm equipment to help them improve their yields and reduce post-harvest losses. A total of 20,000 farmers will benefit from the donation, which includes a multi-purpose thresher, weighing machines, and roller planters. Correspondent Albert Sori has more.
The International Union for Conservation of Nature is working to improve food security and sustainability in the Sahel areas of Africa. The union has been working with farmers under a project called Creating Lands of Opportunity, Transforming Livelihoods Through Landscape Restoration in the Sahel. The 3-year project is funded by the Italian government through the global mechanisms of the United Nations Conventions to Combat Desertification and is being implemented in Ghana, Niger, and Burkina Faso. In Ghana, the project is located in the Upper East and Upper West regions. It is being implemented by the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Arusha, Ghana, and the Environmental Protection Agency. Idrisu Yahaya is a research scientist with the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute.
Our objective is to improve crop productivity and link farmers to markets sustainably. So as part of our project, we have developed a value chain plan with the farmers. And the farmers selected 2 value chain crops, soybean and maize. Now, to improve quality, we need to improve plant population on the field. So, thereby providing the roller planters for them to improve their planting activity due to the labor shortages in the communities. Also, we are providing skills for them to standardize their produce and tarpaulins to give them clean produce so that they can have space to have to dry, and during harvest, we will not harvest with stones.
Smallholder farmers in 8 communities of the Upper East and Upper West regions received farm equipment to help improve their post-harvest fortunes. The communities include Dalasa and Nadema in the Bulsa South District, Yamriga and Awaradoni in the Talense District, Tarekom and Gbango in the Boko West District, all in the Upper East region. Farmer groups in each of these communities were given a weighing machine, 2 roller planters, and tarpaulins. In the Upper West region, smallholder farmers in communities such as Nanchala and Sakalu in the Sisala East municipality also received the same donations. However, the Gbango community in the Boko West district was also given a multi-purpose thresher for threshing grains. A senior research scientist with the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute, Manga Station, Dr. Julius Yirzagla, said it is hoped that the equipment donated will help the beneficiary farmers to standardize their operations.
We noticed from our interaction with you that you needed those things. You need pick sacks to store your crops, and you also need a weighing scale to make sure you standardize your weights when you are sending them to the market. That is why we procured these tools and equipment to help facilitate your work.
The farmers were excited about the donation. Some of them spoke to Joy News.
We farm maize, soybean, granules, rice. And it's not easy for us. As a poor person, when you want to do this farm work without capital in your hand, you can't do it effectively. because everything you have to use labor. The yield is good through the knowledge we have gained from Sahel. And today, as I stand, I say it is a very good thing they have done to our community.
I'm well convinced that it will impact positively in the lives of the dwellers or the beneficiaries of the community. The planter, for instance, will help them plant the type of crop that they want. And measuring is no longer going to be a problem because we have a scale.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
And on that note, we take a breather, but when we return, we're hosting Dr. Kwame Asasante as he joins us for the news review. Do stay.